God gives us a choice of two paths. Most people choose the wrong path and they have a life of endless struggle and get trapped in the cycle of karma. But if you choose the right path, you tap into a power that's far more powerful than the law of manifestation. You discover your life purpose and you lead a creative, a fulfilling, and a very happy life. This video is about how to make the right choice and how to find your life purpose. But before we get to the choice that God has given us, I'm first going to touch on the law of manifestation and the law of karma very briefly. And we use the law of manifestation to achieve various desires or objectives of ours, which could be finding a bigger house, finding a dream job, passing our exams, finding a life partner, and so on. And there's nothing wrong with that. These are tools that God has given us for us to fulfill our desires. Now, more powerful than the law of manifestation is the law of karma. And the law of karma is what basically governs us. And the law of karma, one of the things it states is that some of our actions have consequences. And these consequences are stored as an impression, as an imprint in our memory. And they will manifest sometime in the future at a suitable moment. So you have to be very careful that you don't harm anybody or do damage to anyone, because you will face the consequences of those actions. You can't use the law of manifestation to stop that. The law of manifestation cannot override the law of karma. It works the other way around. The law of karma overrides the law of manifestation. Now let's get back to the main topic of this video. What is the choice that God has given us, and how do you find your life purpose? Well, God gives us a choice that when it comes to our contribution to this world, the work we wish to do or something we wish to do on the side, we can follow our individual will or we can follow God's will. When we follow our individual will, we decide what we wish to be in life, whether it's a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist, a factory worker, a sports person, a bureaucrat, a politician, a teacher, a businessman, and so on. Or we can decide what God has chosen for us, which is our Dharma or our life purpose. That's how we can best contribute to this world. And God has given us certain talents, certain abilities, so that we can fulfill our Dharma. Each one of us has a special talent, which we need to discover, and we need to discover our life purpose, and we can use those talents to fulfill our life purpose. It's unfortunate that in our country and in other countries, we do have the case where some students commit suicide. They're not able to cope with the pressure of exams, or they may fail in an exam. Now, when you fail an exam, it's basically life telling you that this path is not for you. You're going down the wrong path. This door may be closed for you, but there's another door that's waiting for you to walk through. And that's a better door, a better path for you to follow. And that's the path that each of us has to discover what our life purpose and what our Dharma is. Like, giving you a personal example, I discovered many years ago that one of my life purpose was to be an author of spiritual books where I translate ancient texts from Sanskrit to English, ancient texts on yoga, on tantra and meditation. Now, at that time I didn't even know Sanskrit, but I went with my gut instinct. I went into the direction that that Shiva was leading me, and I decided to learn Sanskrit. And to my amazement, I found that I didn't find it difficult to learn Sanskrit. And with God's grace, I was able to translate some difficult passages and some difficult texts quite easily. And I benefited from the wisdom of those books, and so did some of my readers. And I used to do this work at night after coming back from work. And sometimes when you come back from work, you're tired after a day's work. And when I started translating these texts, I suddenly found I had a burst of energy. Maybe it was the Shakti or the energy in these ancient texts, or maybe it was that I just loved what I was doing. Writing books wasn't work for me. It was just fun. It was just pure joy. And I'm giving you this personal example not to show you how great I am. I'm definitely not great, but just to show you that each of us has a hidden talent, and so do you. And when you discover that talent and you use it, all of us can benefit from it. Now, let's move on to how do you find your life purpose? Well, there are two ways you can do it. There are more than two ways, but I'm just going to give you two ways here. One is to live consciously and live in awareness. And when you live in awareness, your life purpose becomes clear to you. And I want to make it clear that living in awareness is not something you do for a day. It's actually more important than even finding your life purpose. When you live in awareness, you gain peace, you gain joy, you gain happiness, you gain lots of things in life. And we have a term in Sanskrit which is Sakshi Bhava, or in Hindi Sakshi Bhav, which means be a witness. Now, when you're living in awareness, when you're conscious, you're a witness. And that witness within us is our soul, it's our divine self. And when we're conscious, we're in touch with our divine self. And our divine self not only gives us our life purpose, but also leads us through our life. If you're facing a major problem in life, a major difficulty, it's your soul that will give you guidance and will tell you how to circumvent or to overcome that difficulty that you're facing. So this is one way to achieve your life purpose or to find your life purpose. Another way is through the path of devotion. Now we have something in Hinduism called Ishta Devata, where we have a personal deity or personal God that we are devoted to. It could be Shiva, it could be Krishna, it could be Ram, it could be one of the Devis, the goddess Kali, the goddess Lakshmi, or some other deity. Now, when you're devoted to your personal deity and you pray to them or you chant their mantra, then also you find your life purpose, you're given your life purpose. And when you receive your life purpose, don't ignore it, don't avoid it. This is probably the best decision you can make in your life. That when you discover your Dharma, you follow it. It will change your life completely for the better. Thank you so much for watching.